750, Big 550 KTRS. Larry Stenneback is with us from First Rule Film and Broadcast. He is our R&D guy each and every week or so. He brings us the future. And you got two things for us today. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Will. How you doing?
First, let's talk about this LED thing from the St. Louis company.
Yeah, so this is great. It's always good to have local St. Louis stories in the tech world. They don't happen as often as we'd like. So a local startup called Tapple is the name of the company, TAPTL, has a CEO named Mary Wolf, a young student who has essentially made transparent touchscreen LED TVs.
Which transparent LED TV.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So essentially you got, and I might have misspoke there. It's not necessarily LED. I'm not sure how she's lighting it. But essentially you've got a TV screen, which right now is, if you're not doing anything, is black, right? If you have it off.
Right.
In this case, you could have your windows literally right here behind us in the studio be televisions. And when they're off, they just look like windows. But when you turn them on, they look like televisions. So it's almost like what you've seen in Iron Man and other movies. We got these transparent displays.
So it would be a window until you turn it onto a television, and then it would be a television.
Correct. And, so historically, when you're looking at LCDs, I got a little prop here. LCDs, the actual panel itself, is about as thin as a business card.
Okay.
It's very, very, very thin and semi-transparent in and of itself. But what they have to do is they have to stack all this lighting mechanisms like LEDs and LED TVs.
Right.
Or LCDs have big fluorescent tubes in the back end and then all the other batteries and everything else you might need. That's what makes it thick. So what she's done is she's found a really interesting way, essentially, to backlight the TV in a way that makes it go from transparent to opaque.
Now, how big is this TV? Is it 10 inches or is it 65 inches?
These are massive. These are like your 65-inch, 80-inch, and they're actually the first audience they're going for is yacht owners. Because the yacht owners are willing to pay a lot of money for new technology, and they want to save space in their yachts. So you wouldn't have a TV on a wall. All of your windows looking out or something like that would actually be
How
the TV.
much does this TV cost?
They don't have numbers readily available.
That's how expensive
you're
it
talking
is.
$30,000 probably right now. But the idea being is that the technology could eventually find its way into your phone. So where you have a transparent phone, or you have other devices that, like your glasses, let's say, that are transparent when you're not doing something with them, but all of a sudden they turn on and you have an ability to look through a display.
That is freaky.
Kind of neat and good here in St. Louis to see some innovation happen here locally.
That is. Does it have an HDMI port? That's all I want to know.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. And you'll be happy to note it supports 4K, they said. So
all right, good.
So local story, very neat.
That's really interesting. All right, what's number two?
Moving on to national story, Google made a really interesting announcement yesterday regarding the next generation of all types of computers called quantum computers. And if you haven't heard of quantum computers yet, they are the next evolution of computing hardware. And it's not like a one-time or two-time increase in speed. It's actually done at the atomic level. And all of the calculations are done using something called superposition, taking advantage of that in physics. I don't want to get too heady here. But the idea being, Google showed that their quantum computer that they have, which is only a handful of them sold last year for the very first time by a company called D-Wave, they were trying to prove if it was real, if it actually did what it was a true quantum computer. They proved it with a test, and the test of the algorithm ran on super high-end hardware right now, like your laptop, but like servers.
Right.
And then they ran them on the quantum computer. The quantum computer was 100 million times faster. So it's not one or two times faster. It's so much faster, it's hard to get your head around.
So you're telling me that my computer that I just bought that is so fast today, there are other computers out there that are 100 million times faster?
In this particular test, it was 100 million times faster than even the highest in hardware compared to your computer that's currently existing. This technology is going to introduce make things like artificial intelligence possible. And right now, the only people that have it are NASA, Lockheed Martin, the United States government,
and ISIS.
Well, no, they do not have it, because the amount of
good.
technical need to do this, to put it into perspective, something that all your audience can kind of understand how powerful this is.
Right.
A CPU in a quantum computer is called a qubit, which is what it's called, and so the number of cores, let's say, is called a qubit operator. To make a 256-bit qubit operator, which we could do today technically, it could make calculations on every particle in the known universe simultaneously and have processing overhead.
You mean having processing left over?
Yes, exactly. Every particle.
They can do that and check your horoscope for you.
All of that at once.
Yeah.
So it's phenomenally insane sci-fi level technology that is actually coming into mainstream.
So the fastest computer out there, this Google computer, is now 100 million times faster.
Yes, essentially.
That is out on the market now.
They only sold a handful of them to select institutions currently, being Lockheed Martin, NASA, and Google. But
it's clearly coming.
Eventually, it's coming. It might take 5-10 years before it's available at mainstream, but
right.
It's going to change the world.
Wow, that is freaky.
Yep. Your first artificial intelligence you talk to will be on a quantum computer.
That is freaky, as well as the see-through TV is freaky.
It is. They're both really interesting future kind of sci-fi techs. I mean, we live in the future. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Larry, with First Rule Film and Broadcast, another mind-blowing segment. Thank you very much.
Try.
All
Thanks,
right,
McGraw.
good. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
7:56, Big 550.